Right, so are you ready to do this? Let's dive into this stuff about Malik Nabers' rookie season in the NFL. This is fascinating stuff. You sent me some really good excerpts about his rookie season and how he, went from college ball to the NFL.
Yeah.
And what I'm really curious about is how this guy goes from, a standout college player to making history as a rookie in the NFL.
Well, that's what's so fascinating about these excerpts. Right?
Yeah.
We actually see this transformation happen in real time.
Right.
We're not just looking at his stats.
Wow.
We're getting to look into the mentorship and the work ethic, the little details that, added up to such a remarkable rookie year.
Yeah. So let's set the stage here a little bit. Nabers' college stats were impressive. I mean, back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons, 21 touchdowns, playing for a top program. This wasn't some small school wonder.
Right.
He was facing tough competition.
Right. Absolutely. But even with that pedigree, transitioning to the NFL is a whole other beast.
Yeah.
It's like going from playing chess to 3D chess.
Right.
While everyone else is already a grandmaster, I mean, the speed of the game, the complexity of the defenses, it's just a massive leap.
Yeah, and that's where this relationship with Darius Slayton comes in. Slayton, the Giants' veteran receiver, basically took Nabers under his wing, right?
I think it's more than that. I think Slayton became a true mentor to him,
Right.
Guiding him through the intricacies of the pro game. And the excerpts even mention that Nabers constantly sought Slayton's advice, especially when it came to releases off the line of scrimmage, which is a crucial skill for any receiver.
Well, and think about it.
Yeah.
You're a rookie going up against these, seasoned cornerbacks who've seen it all.
Right.
Having someone like Slayton break down their tendencies, teach you how to anticipate their moves, I mean, that's got to be invaluable.
Oh, absolutely. And we're not just talking theory here. One of the excerpts actually quotes Nabers saying, Slay was always showing me tape, helping me fine-tune my game. So we're talking about, hands-on mentorship,
Yeah.
using film study to analyze opponents and dissect techniques. I mean, that's where the real learning happens.
It reminds me of when I was learning to code.
Yeah.
And I had this, more experienced developer who would sit down with me, not just tell me what to do, but actually walk me through the debugging process,
Right.
show me how to approach problems.
Yeah.
Having that kind of guidance was just a game changer for me.
I mean, it's the difference between being told what to do and actually understanding why you're doing it.
Right.
And that's where real growth happens. And it sounds like that's exactly what Slayton provided for Nabers.
So this mentorship seemed to have paid off quickly. I mean, Nabers comes out, guns blazing,
Yeah.
200-yard games, 3 touchdowns in his first month. It looked like he was on track for, a record-breaking rookie season. But then things hit a snag, Reagan.
Yeah.
What happened?
Yeah, this is where the narrative takes, kind of a fascinating turn. The defenses adapted. Teams started double-teaming him, disguising their coverages. And Nabers, facing this new level of complexity, kind of went through an 8-game slump.
Wait, hold on. When you say slump, I mean, are we talking about like a complete drop-off? Or was it more just a case of the insanely high expectations that he had set early on?
Well, it's important to remember that even during this, so-called slump,
Right.
Nabers was still contributing. The Giants' offense as a whole was struggling, so it wasn't solely on his shoulders. But what's interesting is how he responded to this adversity.
And this is where that whole film study thing comes back into play, right?
Right.
The excerpts mention him going back to his college tapes, almost like he was trying to, I don't know, like rediscover something.
Exactly. He says that he realized he was playing with more freedom in college, trusting his instincts.
Yeah.
And you can see that shift reflected in his Week 17 performance.
Yeah.
Remember, this is the game where he explodes for 171 yards and 2 touchdowns, cementing his place in NFL history.
Okay, but you're telling me watching old college film helped him break out of an NFL slump. I mean, how does that even work?
It's not about, copying what he did in college. It's about rediscovering that sense of confidence, that fluidity of movement. It's like a dancer, returning to basic steps to regain their balance and rhythm. And when you look at the details of his Week 17 performance, you can see that newfound freedom in action.
Okay, so give me an example.
Well, on that 59-yard touchdown, sources say he just absolutely roasted the cornerback with a double move.
Right.
That's not just athleticism.
Right.
That's a sophisticated route running technique.
Right.
And it makes you wonder, was that something Slayton helped him develop? Was that a move that they practiced, in the film room?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. We're not just saying that mentorship is good. We're seeing how it translates to, concrete skills on the field. It's like connecting the dots between the classroom and the game-winning shot.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And what makes Nabers' journey even more remarkable is that he achieved all this as a rookie. Imagine the pressure of transitioning to the NFL, facing elite competition, having these sky-high expectations.
Right.
And yet he not only survives, he thrives.
It's like being thrown into the deep end of the pool.
Yeah.
And not just learning to swim, but winning the damn race.
Yeah. And what's even more impressive is that he doesn't seem content with just winning the race.
Yeah.
He's talking about, continuous improvement and setting even bigger goals for himself.
Yeah.
It's clear that this is just the beginning for Malik Nabers.
Yeah. This is great stuff. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with more on Malik Nabers.
Yeah.
It's funny, we talk about these incredible athletes, these rising stars, but we often forget they're still so young. I mean, can you imagine handling that kind of pressure at 21, 22 years old?
Yeah.
It's wild.
It's a testament to his mental fortitude, for sure. And I think that's one of the most valuable takeaways from Nabers' rookie season. It's not just about physical talent. It's about the mental game, the ability to adapt and overcome adversity.
Well, we touched on that, 8-game stretch where defenses started figuring him out.
Right.
But I kind of want to dig into that a little bit more.
Sure.
You mentioned the Giants' offensive struggles.
Yeah.
So was it really a slump for Nabers, or was he kind of a victim of circumstance?
That's a great question. And it highlights the complexity of evaluating performance in a team's sport, right?
Yeah.
Yes, the Giants' offense wasn't firing on all cylinders, and that certainly impacted Nabers' production.
Right.
But the excerpts also suggest that he was facing, more targeted coverage, more double teams, which forced him to adjust his approach.
So it wasn't just a matter of defenses catching up to his speed or athleticism. They were scheming specifically to take him away.
Exactly. And that's where the mental game comes in. Imagine you're a rookie. You've had this incredible start, and suddenly you're facing, 2, sometimes even 3 defenders every play. That can be incredibly frustrating, even demoralizing.
Yeah. I remember when I first started doing stand-up comedy.
Uh-huh.
I had a couple of killer sets, and I thought I was on fire.
Yeah, right.
And then just bombed miserably at this open mic.
Oh, yeah.
And it totally shook my confidence.
Oh.
I started second-guessing everything, overthinking my jokes.
Yeah.
And it just got worse from there.
And that's where the parallel to Nabers is so fascinating. He could have easily spiraled down that same path of self-doubt.
Right.
But instead, he turns to film study, he revisits his college tapes, he actively seeks advice from Slayton.
So you're saying that's what ultimately allowed him to break out of that swamp and have that, explosive Week 17 performance.
Well, it's not a simple cause and effect relationship.
Right.
But I think it played a significant role.
Yeah.
By analyzing his own game, identifying areas where he could improve, and leaning on the support of his mentor, Nabers regains that sense of confidence and freedom that had been missing.
So it wasn't just about learning new techniques or strategies. It was about rediscovering his strengths, his natural abilities, and trusting those instincts again.
Precisely. And when you look at the details of that Week 17 game, you can see that shift in his play. He's not hesitant, he's not overthinking, he's attacking the defense, making decisive cuts, and just letting his talent shine through.
The excerpts mention a specific play, that 59-yard touchdown, where he completely burned the cornerback.
Right.
Did they give any insight into, what he did differently there?
Yes, and this is where those details from the excerpts become really interesting. They describe Nabers using a double move, a subtle fake to the inside, followed by an explosive burst towards the sideline.
Right.
And if you recall our earlier discussion about his work with Slayton, it makes you wonder.
Yeah.
Was this a technique they had practiced together? Was this a direct result of their film study sessions?
Man, that gives me chills.
Yeah.
It's like watching a student master a complex equation after struggling with it for weeks.
Right.
You see that light bulb moment, that sense of accomplishment.
Yeah.
It's just so rewarding.
And it reinforces this idea that success is rarely a straight line. There are going to be setbacks. There are going to be moments of doubt. But it's how we respond to those challenges, how we leverage our support systems, how we commit to continuous improvement that ultimately determines our trajectory.
Okay, but let's be real. Not everyone has a Darius Slayton in their life. So how can the average person apply these principles?
Right.
What's the takeaway for someone who's maybe hitting a wall in their own career, their own creative pursuits?
That's a fantastic question. And it gets to the heart of why we're doing this deep dive. While we might not all have an NFL veteran as a mentor,
Right.
we can still adopt that same mindset of active learning, seeking guidance from those who have expertise in our respective fields.
So instead of just hoping for a Slayton to magically appear, we need to be proactive. Seek out mentors. Join communities. Find those resources that can help us grow.
Exactly. And it's not just about finding someone to give us all the answers.
Right.
It's about cultivating that same hunger for knowledge, that same willingness to analyze our own performance, identify our weaknesses, and actively seek ways to improve.
It's like that saying, give a man a fish and you feed him for a day.
Yeah.
Teach a man to fish and you feed him for a lifetime.
Perfectly put. And that's what makes Nabers' story so inspiring. He's not just relying on natural talent.
Right.
He's actively shaping his own destiny through hard work, dedication, and a commitment to continuous learning.
And I think that's a message that resonates far beyond the world of sports.
Mm.
It's about embracing a growth mindset, understanding that setbacks are inevitable, and using those challenges as opportunities to learn and evolve.
Absolutely. And as we move into the final part of our deep dive, I want to shift our focus to what Nabers' rookie season tells us about the future. Not just his future in the NFL, but the broader lessons we can extract about talent, mentorship, and the pursuit of excellence.
It's one thing to have a breakout rookie season. But, it's another thing entirely to maintain that momentum, to, keep pushing yourself to new heights. And what strikes me about Nabers is that he seems to have that, rare combination of talent and drive.
Right. It's evident in the way he talks about the future. Even after achieving, these incredible milestones, he's not resting on his laurels.
Right.
One of the excerpts quotes him saying, "Everything I've done this year is just a step toward bigger things."
Right.
That kind of hunger, that relentless pursuit of improvement is what separates, the truly exceptional from the merely talented.
So I'm curious, what are those bigger things he's referring to? Is it about individual accolades, breaking records, or is there something deeper driving him?
Well, it's hard to say for sure, but based on, his actions, his commitment to learning from veterans like Slayton and Brian Burns, it seems like he's focused on, building a sustainable career. Right.
Becoming a true leader in the league.
So it's not just about, flashy plays or, one-hit wonders.
Right.
He's thinking about longevity, about the kind of impact that extends beyond a single season.
Exactly. And that's where the mentorship aspect becomes so crucial.
Yeah.
He's not just learning about route running or reading defenses.
Right.
He's absorbing the wisdom of players who have, navigated the ups and downs of a long NFL career.
It's like he's getting a master class in not just how to play the game, but how to, thrive within the culture of the league,
Right.
how to handle the pressure, the media, the, constant scrutiny.
And that's something you can't learn from a textbook or a training manual.
Right.
It's about observing, absorbing, internalizing the habits and mindsets of those who have achieved sustained success.
That reminds me of when I was first starting out as a podcaster.
I was so focused on the technical aspects, the sound quality, the editing, but I was neglecting the bigger picture, the storytelling, the connection with the audience.
Right.
It wasn't until I started, connecting with more experienced podcasters, attending workshops,
Yeah.
really immersing myself in the community, that my work started to resonate on a deeper level.
Right. It's a perfect example of how mentorship can transcend specific skills or industries.
Right.
It's about finding those individuals who embody the values and qualities you aspire to,
Yeah.
and learning from their experiences, their triumphs, and even their failures.
I think that's what makes this deep dive so much more than just a recap of Nabers' rookie season.
Right.
It's a case study in the power of mentorship, the importance of continuous learning, and the mental fortitude it takes to overcome adversity and achieve greatness.
And as we wrap up, I want to circle back to something you mentioned earlier. The fact that Nabers is achieving all of this at such a young age,
Right.
it's a reminder that potential is limitless. Age is not a barrier to success, and that with the right mindset, the right support system, and a relentless commitment to growth, anything is possible.
It's easy to get caught up in the highlight reels, the stats, the external validation. But what Nabers' story reminds us is that true success is built on a foundation of hard work, resilience, and a constant striving for improvement. And that's a message that resonates with all of us, regardless of our age, our profession, or aspirations.
So as you go about your day, your week, your year, remember Malik Nabers. Remember his journey, his hunger, his commitment to becoming the best version of himself. And ask yourself, what can I learn from his story? How can I apply those principles to my own life, my own pursuit of excellence?
Well said. And to our listener, thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We hope you found it as insightful and inspiring as we did. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep pushing yourself to new heights.